What if I told you that your personality, the way you react to different situations, wasn't random, but written in the stars, long before you were born? And what if, all your life, you've been told that you're a stubborn Taurus, a diplomatic Libra, or an emotional Pisces, but the truth is far more complex? Thousands of years ago, humans looked up at the night sky and saw more than just stars. They saw a hidden map of life itself. Astrology was born from the desire to understand the connection between the movement of celestial bodies and events on Earth. From ancient Babylon to Egypt, China, and India, civilizations believed that the sky was telling a story, and they divided it into constellations that became the zodiac signs we know today. But what do these constellations really have to do with us? Why is the zodiac still so relevant in our lives, even after thousands of years? Can we truly learn about ourselves through our sign, or is it just all one big myth? In this video, we're diving deep into the truth behind the zodiac, how it was created, the logic behind it, and how each of us is influenced by it in ways we might not even realize. So, if you've ever wondered whether astrology is real science, a psychological tool, or just an ancient belief that has embedded itself into our culture, you're in the right place. Before we dive into the division of zodiac signs into groups, there's one important question to understand. How exactly do planets influence us? Astrology isn't just about birth dates. It's also about the planets that dictate the energy of each sign. According to astrologers, each zodiac sign has a ruling planet, a celestial body that influences and defines its key traits. These planets aren't just floating in space. They are believed to shape our energy and personalities. The Sun, ruler of Leo. The Sun is the center of the solar system. Just like Leos feel the need to be at the center of attention. It represents strength, confidence, and leadership. Those born under its influence seek recognition and prominence, but sometimes this can turn into a constant need for validation. The Moon, ruler of Cancer, presents emotions, intuition, and a deep connection to home and family. Just like the lunar cycle, Cancers experience frequent mood shifts. This makes them sensitive and caring, but also vulnerable and prone to withdrawing into themselves. Mars, ruler of Aries. Mars symbolizes drive, action, competition, and a strong will to win, perfectly reflecting Aries' nature. It is associated with warriors and leaders who take on challenges without hesitation. But too much Mars influence can lead to impatience and impulsiveness. Venus, ruler of Taurus and Libra. Venus represents love, beauty, comfort, and relationships. In Taurus, it creates a strong desire for stability, pleasure, and material security, but also stubbornness. In Libra, it manifests as charm, social grace, and a need for harmony. However, sometimes avoidance of conflict. Mercury, ruler of Gemini and Virgo. Mercury governs communication, intellect, and quick thinking. In Gemini, it brings endless curiosity and an ability to converse with anyone, though sometimes at the cost of consistency. In Virgo, it fosters analytical thinking, precision and perfectionism, but sometimes an overly critical nature. Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius. Jupiter symbolizes expansion, wisdom, and luck. For Sagittarius, it fuels a passion for exploration, learning, and seeking meaning. However, when its influence is excessive, it can lead to restlessness and an inability to complete what was started. Saturn, ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is the planet of structure, responsibility, and ambition. In Capricorn, it fosters discipline, organization, and goal-oriented thinking. But too much Saturn influence can result in rigidity and resistance to change. Uranus, ruler of Aquarius. Uranus represents innovation, change, and unconventional thinking. In Aquarius, it manifests as a desire to challenge norms and see the world differently. However, excessive Uranus influence can lead to emotional detachment or rebelliousness for no clear reason. Pluto, ruler of Scorpio. Pluto represents transformation, power, and hidden truths. In Scorpio, it grants deep emotional intensity, strong intuition, and a desire to uncover what lies beneath the surface. However, too much Pluto energy can make them overly secretive and extreme. Neptune, ruler of Pisces. Neptune is the planet of dreams, imagination, and spirituality. In Pisces, it enhances creativity and intuition, but also a tendency to escape reality. When Neptune's influence is too strong, it can cause people to get lost in fantasies and avoid facing reality. What happens when the planets are out of balance? This is where things get tricky. When a ruling planet's energy becomes too strong, it can create challenges. For example, Aries with excessive Mars influence may become impatient and aggressive, while Libra with an overactive Venus may compromise too much to avoid conflict.